travelers. Mag, I, and Skeletor 10 here on day 22 of our trip around the U.S. We are approaching the end of our time in Maine today. We really only have a few hours left here. We started the morning here with the Cascade Falls just north of Biddeford. A nice hike down the trail. Surprisingly, there's a family event going on, so the trail is filled with families and children, face painting booths and other games. We thought they were all here for the waterfalls, but it turns out we were the only ones interested. And unfortunately, today is Skeletor 10's last full day with us. We'll get to have him a little bit with us tomorrow, but then he's going to head back to Florida, and we're going to continue on our way to New York from there. We've already finished our entire agenda for Maine. The DeLorme challenges and the county challenges are completely wiped out. Today is really a free day. So we're going to go and explore a few places right around the Biddeford area that we thought were pretty interesting. And then we're going to head down to New Hampshire and Portsmouth, and we're probably going to spend the rest of the day out on the Rails to Trail or in the local area. The Rails to Trail is if I get lucky and I can talk Skeletor 10 here into hiking a few miles. I think we can get it done. So very excited about the possibilities today has. No matter where it brings us, we know it's going to be a good time. So come on, let's go check this thing out together.
The morning kicked off with a leisurely stroll down toward Cascade Falls. Once we got past all the families and children, it was really a quiet trail. My favorite part was the bridge going across the river. It is a skinny metal bridge with just enough room for one person to pass at a time, or for one dog to pass at a time. A long time ago, a floor like this might have scared Ai-chan, but she's long past being concerned now. It was a very short trail, so it didn't take us very long at all to reach the falls. We could hear the sound of the rushing water growing louder as we came around the bend. The unmistakable deluge of water constantly pouring down the rocky surface. Any day that gets to start with a waterfall view is a winner of a day as far as I'm concerned. And then we were ready to hit the trails again, on the way to a new destination. We have visited veterans' walls all over the country. Each one stands as a representation of the community's support for our veterans. The Military Veterans Wall in Biddeford is not quite like one we've seen before. It has military heroes from the community, both past and present, scrolling all the way across the wall from one end to another. It was a very well done military monument. We were in for a real treat when we reached Walker Point. Walker Point offers an overlook right onto the coast. But more importantly, it faces out to the Bush family compound. Looking out over the view, it's easy to see why these former presidents would choose to live here. It's an unbeatable spot. Just around the corner from Walker Point, we visited a sea cave out on the rocks. The incoming tide forces its way into the sea cave and creates a splashback. We were still a couple hours ahead of high tide, so the effect wasn't as pronounced as it probably could have been. We wrapped up our day on the William Lloyd Garrison Trail in Massachusetts. It's a 2-mile trail one way. To make life a little easier on Ai-chan, and Skeletor 10 I guess, I dropped them off at one end and then drove to the other and ran back to meet them. That allowed us to start at mile 0 together, and then progress our way toward the end of the trail. This really was perfect for the dog because she wasn't about to do 4 miles today, but 2 was totally in the books. She enjoyed many great smells along the way and burned through the energy for the day. Hands down, the high point of this trail was the bridge crossing in the center. We'd already driven over this bridge a couple of times throughout the day, but you just can't get the views when you're flying over at high speed like you can when you're out there on foot. And with the sun just beginning to set over Massachusetts, the lighting was turning brilliant right out over the water. I can't even imagine what it's like to live on that house in the middle of the bridge. Talk about waterfront access. The sun slowly sank its way down the horizon, a reminder that today was quickly coming to an end. We enjoyed the last views offered at the tail end of the trail, and then celebrated the sweet taste of victory as we closed in toward the finish line. It really was quite a day to wrap up our time with Skeletor 10.
That wraps up day 22 of our trip, and what a day it's been. We started off in New Hampshire, and then went up to Maine to see Cascade Falls. From Cascade Falls, we went out to the coast, and we saw the Bush family compound. That was a good way to wrap up Maine. Then we came down to New Hampshire again, and we hung out near the border of the states for a little while, before finally finishing our day here on the William Lloyd Garrison Trail. It's a 2-mile trail, one way, so I went ahead and dropped off the dog on Skeletor 10, drove up to the other end of the trailhead, met them, and then we walked in together. It offers a bridge view in the middle, and it's a nice, quiet, scenic retreat minus all the cars on each side passing at high speed. Unfortunately, today is Skeletor 10's last full day with us. We get to see him in the morning, and then he's going to head back home to Florida. But that's okay, because we got New York coming, and I have a feeling Skeletor 10 will want to come back and join us in the future. So stay tuned, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and we're going to have daily updates coming at you as we work our way through New York. See you on the trails.